This segment of Panther Sports Talk is brought to you by Lincoln Savings Bank. At home in Iowa, at work for you.
Welcome to Panther Sports Talk. A huge weekend for the UNI football program, not only winning their senior day, their final regular season game 41-3, but also getting into the FCS postseason. We'll talk about all that here with Coach Farley. And heading in, you knew this had potential to be a big weekend for your program.
We did. It's been a big year, and I tell you what, going into that game, that was a huge football game, and we played very well. It turned out to be a record-setting day, offensively and defensively, and then it turned out to be a great Sunday when we got into the playoffs.
Talk about the team's mentality heading into that. You dropped a couple, but you knew you had a great team that really wanted to make a statement at home there.
Well, the whole deal is that we had won some huge games on the road and really positioned ourselves well. Then we started getting some injuries that showed up along with some COVID guys that got knocked out. And between all that going on and going on the road, we didn't get the wins. So we were up against the wall to get the win on Saturday, and then came out and really played well in that football game.
Talk about that second half. Pretty tight at halftime, and then you just blew them out of the water in that third quarter and fourth quarter.
Well, we settled in. It was the first half. I thought defense would play pretty soundly all day long. Special teams was sound all day long. Offense came out, and they're the ones where we've lost a lot of personnel. And so there wasn't any rhythm on offense in that early phase of that game. But once they settled in and got locked in, the second half was tremendous.
Let's look at the defense, holding a great offense in Western Illinois. I mean, that's a record-setting team that they had. They got just 3 points.
They got 3 points. They were averaging 35 points per game. They scored 50-some-odd points against Eastern Washington, who played this weekend. It was a potent offense with a great quarterback, and we ended up getting 12 sacks. So credit our staff for putting together a plan, but really credit the players for the execution and how they played that day.
You've had a chance to review the game film. Was it that front push of your front line, or was it the fact that the combination of your secondary just doing a great job, because guys weren't open downfield and the quarterback just was holding on to the ball? 12 sacks in that game.
The 12 sacks was big, but it was a combination. That was a great team effort because we did not rush 5 guys once. We were rushing a 4 or 3-man rush the whole time, which that means to a football person that, yes, it was a neutral rush. It was great coverage to hold up a little bit longer so those 4 guys could beat 5 guys in protection. And that's what we did all day long. So it was a credit to both the front line of what they did and the coverage of how they held up.
Forcing turnovers seems to be the calling card of this team, and it was again on Saturday.
It was. We're getting the intercepts. We're getting the fumbles. We're very physical. We got a very physical defense, and they get after it. But I'll credit them. They were better. There was a couple weeks in there that I just felt that we were, in my words, getting loose. We weren't as sharp and as tight in the hits and breaking on the balls like we want to. We were playing good, but we didn't have that extra it factor that swings those things in your favor. And we regained that on Saturday when we got the intercepts, hands-on balls, and fumbles.
The offense gets 41 points, and it wasn't Isaiah Weston having a huge day. It was some of the other guys stepping up and making the contributions.
Well, it was a record-breaking run by Don Williams, 99 yards, and that'll be hard to beat. So that would go down the history books as the longest run. And it was great line blocking up front, and then he made a guy miss, and he was out to the races. And Derek Whipple was the one that led him into the end zone, so the other guys couldn't catch him. So that was a unit on a record-setting run, just like it was a unit on defense and record-setting sacks. So it was a great team effort.
Senior day, a little emotional with you walking all those seniors and the parents before, and I'm there watching as a fan thinking, man, this is a great unit, a great senior class.
It was a great senior class. It was very hard because you know the parents, the parents so well, the players so well, but man, when you do it and stand there and shake their hands and see the moms and the dads and the little brothers, and you remember when you recruited them 5 years ago, I mean, they're a part of this family. And it's more than just a football game, man. That's your family that's kind of moving on and taking the next step.
That was Saturday. Then on Sunday at 11:30, the FCS selection show comes on. And it took a little while, but the Panthers had their name pop up, and you were feeling pretty good heading into that Sunday, knowing that you had all those wins over top 10, top 15 programs.
I wasn't feeling good. I felt that we were a playoff football team, but you cannot determine what this committee is going to do. I mean, I've had 8-3 football teams that did not get in, and then have had the football teams at 6-6 get in because of strength of schedule, because of what happens across the country. But there's no question the strength of schedule separated us.
We'll talk about that big trip out to Washington for this football team right after this here on Panther Sports Talk.